There you are. Rebecca. She must be muted.
Yes.
On the t-shirt part, you can just share whatever you wish to share about it during the business meeting. So yeah. And I'm trying to do the business meeting as quick as possible.
I gathered.
Because our focus is on candidates tonight.
Yep.
Yeah.
I want to let you all know that I went live just a little bit earlier just to make sure that we would go live. So we did. So we are live on YouTube. So just,
good.
I just like to make people aware of that. So whatever you're saying is out there for everyone to hear.
And then
public meeting.
Stacy, have you started recording the Zoom meeting?
No, I'll start that right now
Okay.
too. Yeah.
Okay, good.
I'll record it to my computer, Kim, and then when you need it, let me know and I'll send it to you somehow.
Okay, sounds good.
All right.
Yeah, I see the recording button.
Okay, great.
Yep. It's working.
Great.
And we say thank you to Audrey.
Yes, Audrey.
I think that's a very important thing to be doing right now. She's taking over the management of the office. Thank you, Audrey. She's not responding.
She might have stepped away.
I'm going to step away for just a minute, Kim. I'll be right back.
Okay. Hello, Steve Minus.
Hello, how are y'all this evening?
Just fine. Thank you for joining us tonight.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yep. So glad for you to be joining us as well.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Angie.
I am using a new setup tonight, so.
Happy birthday to you, Angie. Nice of you to spend your evening with us.
That's
Can
right.
you guys hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not as well as usual. You're kind of quiet.
Thank you.
There we go.
I'm trying a new setup, y'all, so I'm not sure how to do this.
Hi, Margie.
Hi,
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Great. Great. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see all of y'all.
Your
Are we
pets are
ready?
doing your pets are doing well?
So what?
All your pets doing well?
They are,
Okay,
and
that's good.
we're getting ready to have a soft opening of the Friends of the Library bookstore on May the 15th.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah,
After how long has it been since that the bookstore's been open?
since it closed in March of 2020,
Okay.
so
So over a year.
over a year. Yeah,
So that'll be nice. That will be
Yeah.
very nice. So
You know, I was on a Zoom call today with a young woman who was recovering from COVID after being vaccinated.
Uh-oh.
So
Oh,
we can't get too casual about this.
oh, damn.
yeah.
Yeah, we're in the bookstore. We're only going to have volunteers that have been vaccinated, and we're going to require masks
Good.
and try not to let more than 6 people at a time come in. But that could be hard.
Yeah. But it is.
Was Marilyn, your friend that had COVID, was she really sick or?
Well, she was. It was her first day of feeling well, but she'd been pretty sick. But she'd holed up in a hotel for quarantining. She was in Florida.
Wow.
So I think they've got the one of the variants there that's particularly contagious.
Yeah, no telling when we'll get.
Okay, we're getting ready to start.
Okay, Kim,
Hey.
I'm just going to welcome people real quick and explain to the YouTubers what's going on. Is that okay?
Okay, that's good.
Okay. All right,
Sounds
I want to
good.
welcome everybody who's joining us on YouTube. Thank you. Right now we have 5 people watching. I'm sure we'll get more people throughout the evening. So thank you for tuning in tonight. If you have questions or you'd like to speak to one of the candidates, all you need to do is just type it in the chat and we'll convey that information to the candidates as they're speaking. Or if you have questions throughout the meeting, that's fine. This will be recorded and it will be shown on our page later. And those of you who are interested in the Zoom meeting, we'll also have that available. So I'm going to share my screen and put up the agenda, and then I will turn it over to Kim so that she can get this meeting started. Agenda is up, Kim.
Okay, great. And I first would like to thank all the candidates that have joined us. I'm excited that this particular local election has so many races that are contested. I totally believe that democracy is stronger when we have races that do have different opinions shared and give voters a choice. And I also believe that when more people vote, it makes our democracy stronger. So anyway, to our presentation order, we're going to go first by New Braunfels City Council races. We'll start with District 3 and then move to District 4. And then followed by Comal ISD school board races, single member District 1 and single member District 2. Then next on the agenda would be the 2 New Braunfels ISD school board races, starting with District 3 and District 5. And then at the very end would be a presentation from Jordan Matney, who is one of the city's assistant city managers. And the way we're going to allow, we're going to have the candidates for each race to have 5 minutes, up to 5 minutes to say whatever they would like. and then open it up for questions for that race. So if there are 2 candidates speaking, then we'll wait for questions after 2 candidates on that. So anyway, let's get started with current city council member for New Braunfels City Council District 3, Harry Bowers. So let's welcome Harry Bowers. Go ahead, Harry.
Thank you all so much for the invitation tonight, both in the applause and in the emojis and things of that nature, as we live in the Zoom world today so frequently. First and foremost, I want to thank your organization for inviting me. Despite the fact I'm personally a conservative Republican, city council is a nonpartisan position, as you well know, and I represent all my constituents, Republicans, Democrats, Independents, many that don't associate with party affiliations at all on any side of the aisle. So it's an honor to represent such a broad section of our community as a District 3 representative that I've been blessed to do for the last 3 years in relation to that. A little bit myself, just very quickly, I've been blessed to serve in this city council member for District 3 for 3 years. Prior to that, I had 16 years of continuous service on city boards and commissions, much of that on the Community Development Advisory Committee and also on the Planning and Zoning Commission. I pride myself on working collaboratively with my colleagues on city council, also with our nonprofit community that's outstanding, our business community, to really do what we can to really move New Braunfels forward at the same time while keeping our heritage and culture. When I say moving forward, so frequently I hear from constituents that are many times upset about growth, and I can perfectly understand that, and I get it. However, as we know, the state legislature and the court systems and case law has told us that municipalities can't tell people what to do with their private property. We can zone, we can have development codes and things of that nature, but we can't tell somebody they can't develop. So I'm a firm believer in really working with folks across the aisle to come to solutions that are win-win. And we can't always get to win-win. That sometimes is not possible. But what I like to do is, if we can't get to win-win, is we can respect each other at the end of the day and work to another solution in the future. And last night, for instance, we had a zoning case near Mission Hill Park, and we all, many of us, if not everybody, believe in Mission Hill Park, the beautiful park that it is, the historical context, the highest point in New Braunfels. But the developer who has the property next door has the right to develop the land. But we work together on height restrictions and setbacks and different things of this nature to preserve the park as much as we could, the view of the park, I should say, while the developer is still allowing to develop their land. So I'm appreciative when we can work across the aisles, not just always politically, but among those different things to move things forward. I'm a big fan of transparency. When I entered office, I said we're going to have quarterly citizens forums for engagement. And at the same time, if we don't have a topic, then we won't have one. But if we do, we'll continue. And I'm very proud that we've had one every quarter. Some were through Zoom like this because of the world we live in, but nonetheless, we've had those. And it's a great opportunity for citizens to come together with staff and myself and talk about things and issues of concerns or things that we can do to be collaborative. For instance, Curlick Park, which is in my district, had sat as an empty lot for many years. It wasn't anybody's fault. They didn't make the bond. Many people thought it was someone's private lot. They didn't even know it was a park. And we were able to creatively do some basic improvements. Nothing earth-shattering there, but nonetheless, people know it's a park now. There's tables, you see children playing, adults exercising, and things of this nature. So sometimes they're not humongous items, but they still matter to people, and that's what matters to me in the quality of life. I believe in taking a bond to the voters for the voters to give us direction. Citizen engagement is most important. Prime examples of our bond, we took a bond to, as you all know, many of you know, and we received 60 to, in some cases, 80% approval from the voters. But I want to make it clear, it wasn't council coming up with these priorities. Council appointed a board of 20 plus individual citizens of a cross section of the community to put together and take a look at it and present to us. And then we took a look at that, tweaked it, and took it to the voters. So engagement at all levels is most important. And that's how we, flourish together as a community, in my opinion. And I'm happy to answer any questions anybody may have. I'm not sure if I can hear you. I'm sorry.
Here you go. If anybody has a question on Zoom or on YouTube Live, just raise your hand and you can unmute yourself.
Well, let me add a few more things if some folks are thinking of some questions real quick, if I may, within my time allotment here. I don't want to go over, but one thing I'm very proud of in our city is improvements in infrastructure. We continue to spend more money than year before on infrastructure to improve roadways, connectability, for instance, with sidewalks, things of this nature, hike and bike trail, as we continue to grow. And I'm very proud in District 3 that we have among the highest scores of infrastructure rates. Obviously, we want the whole city to have high scores, but in District 3 specifically, our roadways and sidewalks and things tend to score highest or among the highest in the city. And we have many active citizens that use those facilities, and we're very happy of that. And we look forward to continuing to connect those. We've also requested from the NPO funding we hope to receive to connect, for instance, like the Dry Comal hike and bike trail and things of this nature, to also provide people not only space for exercise, but also different forms of modes of transportation to get to and from places and things of that nature. I'm a big proponent of sidewalks and safety, and I'm very thankful that some of the funds in the bond have included improvements around Sealy Elementary and Oak Run Middle School and places of this nature, where children, as well as those recreating, walking and things of this nature, don't have to dodge trash cans, recycle bins twice a week and other vehicles, but they're able to walk safely on that. And we have a lot of work to still to do on that, obviously, but we've made some progress, and I'm very thankful of the progress that we've made on that.
I noticed Rebecca Gilman had a question.
I was
Yes, ma'am.
wondering, what do you see as the major issues facing our city for the next 5 years?
Great question, ma'am. Infrastructure to me is the top issue, because we have two things happening. We have growth happening at an exponential rate that, once again, we can't stop, but we can definitely guide to a degree in relation to that aspect. Now, we have increased to the displeasure of some in the development community, although we agree to disagree on this thing and increase development fees, because our goal on city council is such that new development pays for what it puts on the system, for lack of a better term. In other words, existing taxpayers shouldn't pay the burden of that, but new development should pay that. At the same time, we have aging infrastructure in many parts of our community. So the infrastructure piece of making sure that our development fees are fair, but at the same time, new development is paying for its fair share, not the existing taxpayer, while at the same time, with infrastructure that needs to be updated and things of this nature, remediated on that. So I would say that is one of the top priorities. The other is quality of life. We enjoy quality of life, and even though we're growing, there's still opportunities. That's why, like I mentioned, the improvements at Curlick Park and Mission Hill Park, if I could give you an example, that didn't make the bond. It was a great project, but we wanted to take a bond of the voters with a 0% tax rate increase. So many great projects didn't make it. There was a second library on one draft on the east side of 35 that personally I was a proponent of, but the reality is, at the end of the day, you can only put so much on there to beat a 0% tax rate increase. However, we do charge a parkland development fee on developers. And in fact, in Mission Hill Park, it's been vacant for some time. Nobody's fault. It's just it didn't make the bond. But I work with staff and my fellow council members, and we have there's park districts that the city's made up of. They don't match quite the council member districts, but they're park districts. And due to funding in there, most of it's funding from there, and then a little bit from bond savings from 2013, we'll be launching phase 1A of Mission Hill Park this summer. Now, it's not the grand plan with the tower and all that. I want to make that abundantly clear, but it will have parking, ADA access, and a concrete trailhead up to the bottom of the top, so people could recreate. They can see, they can actually climb to the top if they wish and see the highest point in the city of New Braunfels, the third highest point in the county. So quality of life projects like parks are one thing, libraries, things of this nature. I also remind folks that libraries are not just places where people get books. They're learning commons, they're employment centers. They do many different things that our library staff does to help people. During the height of COVID, they were actually a resource center manning the phones because of their expertise and training and what they could do. So in my opinion, infrastructure is number one, quality of life is number two project. I mean, I'm not ranking 1 and 2 directly, but those are high priorities. And then number 3 is economic development. We have many fellow New Braunfelsers that commute out of town that they would like to work in town, and we'd like to really raise the median income of many citizens. So really bringing in and working with economic development to bring in jobs that make sense for our community, but also allowing New Braunfelsers not to always have to commute. In some occupations, they're always going to have to commute. I understand that, but really trying to increase that, and also strategically hitting some areas that would raise our median income of New Braunfelsers.
And what about climate change? Is that an issue for the city to think about?
Yeah, it's a great question, ma'am. I would say it is dealt with through different facets. And let me explain, for instance, we have a watershed that we try to protect. And as you know, we instituted a wildlife feeding ordinance. And part of that was simply because the watershed was contaminated, right? Which speaks to some degree what you're referring to. So we've taken proactive action to protect our watershed as an example of that nature. We've taken proactive approaches with our rivers to do things that benefit that. So I would argue that those things benefit the grand scale in the big picture.
Mr. Bowers, just had a couple of comments in the chat.
I'm sorry, ma'am.
Am I muted again?
No, you're not.
I heard you, ma'am.
Okay.
I heard you, ma'am.
All right.
So
Okay.
take a look.
Had a comment in the chat saying, love the sidewalks in California. I personally live very close to Landa Park, and adding the sidewalks by Sealy School and then the crosswalks from the baseball field area over into Landa Park. I actually watched a couple of young boys on their skateboards who use that crosswalk. And I thought that was a nice thing that the boys could do that. And then the parents could feel safe, feel safe that their child would be safe to do that. So
Yes,
so
well,
anyway.
I'm glad that people, we have a gym in Landa Park, but accessibility and safety are major issues across our community. And don't get me wrong, we need many more sidewalks. I want to make that abundantly clear, but when we can do strategic things, especially around schools and where neighborhoods connect to schools, where there are those gaps, really that's one of the higher priorities, is trying to fix those gaps. And then look at the whole system as a whole, don't get me wrong, but in some cases you've got those small gaps, but they make a significant difference. And then obviously, Landa Park on Fredericksburg, they're now where you can push the button and get the blinking protection to cross those areas, really makes a significant a safety impact, in relation to that thing. So we're thankful for our partners. I talked before about collaboration, and I always like to make that clear that some of those funds that cover that were actually MPO funds and things of this nature. If we look at the loop that goes through much of my district, the city contributed a small part of that. There were federal funds, state funds, very many put in money, the county. So, it goes without saying, but I still like to say it that, collaboration is key, not only for getting things done, but when resources are tight financially as well, the amount of people involved in that for the betterment of a community is very important. And the loop is a prime example of that as well. But I always like to point out that many of the projects we do are collaborative in nature, whether they be grants or with other governmental entities. One more thing I like to mention on that on quality of life is, and it's a great example of collaboration. The city needs more parks and green space. We want to get that. And, and we have the sports park that made the bond, but there's still a need for much more green space and fields for children and adults as well. Well, NBISD has some middle school fields, as y'all may know, a couple of years ago, but they couldn't afford the lights. So after dark, they couldn't do activities, right? Well, we need green, we need fields, we have money for lights. So we team up. NBISD is a good partner with the city, and the city pays for the lights. Well, now NBISD has lights so they can do things in the evening, and the city in return can use the fields when NBISD isn't using them, So instead of buying new space, although I'm a fan of getting new green space, don't get me wrong, but in this case, we're able to leverage dollars and impact two parts of our community in relation to that. And that's just a great example. There are others of working together collaboratively for the benefit of the community and doing things as fiscally responsible as we can, and then using those other dollars possibly for other projects.
Excellent. And one more thing in the
Yes,
chat
ma'am.
was, this comment was made, the past few years have been very difficult for our community socially, and have many of us feeling disconnected and like our city is fractured. What, if anything, do you think the city should do to help bridge some of the social rifts that exist within New Braunfels?
My belief is New Braunfels is a city that's open to everybody. And, I believe personally, we're all God's children, and we have people are different, type of deal. But my belief is we find commonality. We treat people with respect. We can agree to disagree. But my position has always been, and I try to preach this to my children as well, and everybody else, we can agree to disagree. We can respect others. It doesn't mean we agree with their thoughts or processes at all. And like I've told some people, not specifically in this question, but in the broader context of this aspect, if you're not happy with something and you don't think you can impact change on that, become the change, start an organization, do something that you're passionate about, or things of this nature and that. And I'm not specifically speaking an individual case or organization, but I mean in the broader context. So frequently people forget that, some of the biggest social changes in this country have been made by people that were not happy with something and formed an organization or did something and got out and did something about that. So, my belief is everyone in our community should feel safe. Everybody in our community should feel welcome. And there are going to be different viewpoints, but at the same point in time, we can all respect each other.
Very good. Thanks. And the last comment has to do about your opponent.
Time.
Okay. Maybe what I'll do on that last question, I'll send it to you and then you could reply to it. Okay, Mr. Bowers? Can you see?
Okay, I think I see it, ma'am, on there. I'm sorry, I was
Yeah.
looking at the thing there. So if you want me to answer it very well, okay, just whatever you feel is
Okay,
best,
go-
ma'am. I want to
once
follow
you
your
ju-
process.
once you-
That's fine.
Yeah, once you go ahead and answer it quickly.
Okay, so I'm just trying to read it real quick here. I believe the question, if I'm reading it correctly on here, how does the councilman feel about his opponent's participation in Trump training the group trying to bully the man? I'll be completely honest with you. When I started my campaign reelection, I'm staying in my lane of what I've done, and that is what I've accomplished, what we've accomplished collaboratively together, and where I'm going. And despite, I've heard from people in different comments and things like this. I don't mean this specific request, but in general and things of that nature. And my answer has been the same across the board to folks and people I know from all different ends of the political spectrum, both sides and this and that nature. And that is, I'm staying in my lane, doing what I've done. And between early election and May 1st, the voters will decide what direction they'd like to see the city continue to go or change pace.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Bowers,
Yes,
and good luck on during early voting and then on May 1st.
Thank you, ma'am. And thank you all for the time this evening.
Thank you.
And your opponent wanted us to just show a video from Facebook, but we're not able to do that. So anyone who's interested can check on Facebook. But next is New Braunfels City Council District 4. And Joy Harvey has a video.
Yes, bear with me just a moment and I'll bring it up.
And
And
her
so-
opponent also did not,
Actually, he did share a video.
he did? Okay.
Lawrence Bradley did share a video with Stacy. And so on this particular race, if you have any questions for them, you can put it in the chat or either one, and we'll get it to the candidates that way.
Okay, so we'll start with Joy Harvey. She's again the the candidate for City Council District 4. Can everyone see this screen okay?
I can.
Okay, bear with me just a minute. Let me find my screen. Okay. Hold on, I'm so sorry. I need to share the sound too. There we go. If you can, when this starts playing, if you can hear her, please raise your hand so I'll know.
Hello, Democrats of Comal County. My name is Joy Harvey, and I'm honored to be running for a position on the New Braunfels City Council District 4. I'm a proud military wife, mother of 3 in New Braunfels Public Schools, local civic leader who's active in our church, Oakwood, also active in National Charity League, Mid-Texas Symphony, PTA boards, formerly Girl Scouts. My degree is in Recreation Park and Tourism Science from Texas A&M, GIGM. I love New Braunfels, you guys, and I've been lucky enough to live here and raise our family for 12 years. I just want to give back. I want to preserve the heritage of our great community. I want to ensure that the recreation and hospitality industries remain vibrant and strong as we reopen New Braunfels. For business, I want to serve the community with honor, with transparency, and with honesty. I've been door knocking and talking to many, many voters over the past few weeks and feel like I'm getting a better pulse on our community. Right now, people are hurting. COVID-19 did a number on our city, not just economically, but in the hardships placed on families and schools. I hope to be a part of the solution, getting people back to work, helping ensure a safe, prosperous recovery for all who are willing to work towards it. And this includes diversifying our tourism base by continually looking for ways to appeal to high-end visitors and expand our base whilst not placing a burden on our first responders. Second, it's important that we support our firefighters and police. COVID-19 and the snowstorm placed a strain on all of our first responders to do their job and should be addressed to prepare for similar problems down the road. And speaking of roads, we're going to have to address the quality of roads in District 4 during my term. It's a top priority for me, identifying funding for this and have as many roads repaved before my term is up as possible. Low taxes. I pledge to not vote for a tax rate increase. Growth. It is important to be sure developers are willing to come to the table to help with community projects while continuing to improve our building standards. The last thing District 4 needs is a project that will become dilapidated within a decade. Direct access. Like many council members, I will have my cell phone number posted to the city website for any and all District 4 residents to contact me day or night so I can best serve them. Lastly, one of the most important issues facing our district is involvement. I plan to launch an outreach campaign to ensure all corners of the district have representation on the City of New Braunfels boards and commissions. These committees are where some of the best ideas in our community originate. And so it's important that every neighborhood have involvement in the processes that shape what our city will look like in 100 years. I'm so grateful to have been endorsed by the Police Officers Association and the Four Rivers Association of Realtors, along with many personal friends who have local businesses. But the most important endorsement I will receive is from you. I would be honored to have your vote on May 1st. I realize I'm missing the question and answer section of this forum. So please jot down my phone number, 214-632-1111, and reach out to me personally to ask any questions you have or talk about anything about our beautiful town. Thank you so much.
Okay, so that was Joy Harvey, who's running for City Council in New Braunfels, District 4. And now I'll play the piece from her, the video from her opponent, Mr. Spradley has also shared, Lawrence Spradley has shared a video with us. So I'm going to share that with you right now. And Joy's number is in the chat. Angie just put it in the chat for you. And for those of you online, it's 214-632-1111. We'll put it in the chat there as well. All right, here is Lawrence Spradley, also running for City Council District 4. Bear with me just a moment. Again, when I play this, if you can hear it, please raise your hand for me so I know.
Hello, my name is Lawrence Spradley. I'm running for City Council District 4. And I apologize for not being able to be with y'all's meeting today live. However, I have taken some time to make a video for y'all to explain who I am. So, my name is Lawrence Spradley. I'm Texas born and Texas raised. Been married 32 years to my high school sweetheart. I joined the Army in 1988 out of Alvin, Texas, or Houston. And we didn't want to move back to Houston, so when we retired, we moved to New Braunfels. And I absolutely love New Braunfels. I came here in 1979 when I was 11 years old. We stayed at Camp Warnakee, I believe it was, in some cabins, and there was a rope swing that went out into the river. Man, it was fantastic. And I've always enjoyed New Braunfels. It's always been one of my favorite places to be, is right here. So when I retired, this was the obvious choice. And it is definitely the obvious choice of many, many people. People are coming here by the droves because it's just such a wonderful place where we live. And I love every single day driving around here. It is fantastic. So I decided to run in January because I was leaving out of my subdivision. And my subdivision has access road of I-35. The traffic was really bad that day. So I turned around, was going out the back of my subdivision. By the way, I live in Oak Creek, which is up by the new driver's license office off of I-35. Then when I went out the rear of my subdivision, I noticed there's 2 low water crossings on Goodwin Lane. I thought if we had high water and traffic on I-35 or a wreck on I-35, I wouldn't be able to get out of my subdivision. And ironically enough, or worse enough, is that EMS could not get in. So out of frustration, without asking anyone, without consulting anyone, without Googling it, without looking up how to be city council, without asking my mother or asking my wife, I decided to go to City Hall, put my name on the list for city council. It was the right thing to do. If I would have asked someone, and if I would have known myself now, I probably wouldn't have ran to begin with. But it is definitely the right thing to do. So when I decided to do this, first thing I thought of is the growth I'm seeing around my neighborhood and within our city responsible? And the answer to that is no. It is definitely not responsible. And what do I mean by responsible? Are the neighborhoods being built with the proper infrastructure? And where I live, the answer is no. We have roads that surround my entire neighborhood that are old county roads, don't have center lines, don't have lines on the road whatsoever. They're very difficult to pass if an 18-wheeler goes past. And really what it is, it's an improved trail. And being a new improved trail does not make a road. And the city and developers continue to put houses on these little tiny roads. So in my opinion, it is not responsible. It's kind of like telling a 13-year-old you're going to wear those clothes, those socks, those shoes for the next 3 or 4 years. It's just not going to work. So how do you get to be responsible? Well, that's putting apartments where apartments should be. That's putting single-family homes where they should be. Businesses and production facilities where there should be, right? So that it's balanced. It's balanced between housing areas, different types of housing areas, and businesses. It shouldn't be just commingled.
Okay.
Hello, my name's Lawrence Spradley. I'm running. All of us are experiencing the traffic. Currently, our traffic is our traffic. But wait till the summer comes, and then we're going to have traffic from our 3 to 4 million visitors that we're going to get. And I would tell y'all, just like I tell everybody else, that just wait for the summer. No one was able to go anywhere last year. This year, everyone is going everywhere. That's just the way it's going to work. And I don't blame them. If I lived in Houston, I'd be coming to New Brunswick myself. So it's about being responsible and responsible growth. Additionally to that, in my district, there's only one park. It's Torrey Park. Torrey Park's a great, wonderful park in the old section of New Brunswick, and it's great. However, where I live, there's no park for any children anywhere. So I would like to see parks within a short drive or walking distance for kids to be kids. It's not keeping up with their growth. So we're going to put 4,000 houses where I live and not one city park. We have to have a city park. We have to have growth from the city that equals growth from the communities. Let's just don't put things everywhere. So that's kind of my stance, as being responsible with growth. I know I'm only one vote. I can't promise anything, but I can only say that I will be the voice of the people in these communities where developers are trying to make growth not responsible and trying to put things where they should not be, right? So that's about it. I also have some concerns with all the concrete being laid down across our city. We're going to have water runoff. Where is this water going? Where is it headed? It's going downstream to our communities, right, that has a potential to flood these communities. Now, we haven't had a flood since 2015, and major floods since, I think, way before that. I think it was 98 or somewhere in there. And I wasn't living here back in those days. But I was here in 2015 and seen the flood in 2015. So the city, I believe, should look at our flood plans and make sure that they are current and make sure that they are viable for our next major rain event. Pretty sure the city is doing this. I just want to be the advocate of those people that live in those low-lying communities. I do have a little bit more about myself. I do have 5 children, 5 sons actually, and 3 grandsons. And you're probably going, wow, five sons? That's only because I didn't want 6, because number 6 was probably going to be another boy. Ended up having 3 grandsons anyway. 2 of my sons are veterans like myself. I served 27 years in the U.S. Army until I retired here. And I have 1 son that's currently active duty going through Special Forces training for the Texas National Guard, and he's assigned to the 19th Special Forces Group. When I moved here to our wonderful, beautiful city where we live. I had to find a job, and my first job was with Alamo Council of Governments. My next job after that was with Alamo Colleges, working at St. Philip's College, downtown San Antonio, with the Veterans Center. And then I secured a job in a management training program with Halliburton, and I worked that job until I was laid off in 2019. And since then, my wife and I have started our own business. We sell things on Amazon and eBay, and we do pretty good at that. But right now I have my account turned off. I cannot campaign, and I cannot keep track of orders at the same time. I guess I'm not multitasking ability. Anyway, I appreciate y'all's time today. Thank you very much for allowing me to make a video. If y'all have any questions or any concerns or anything that you would like to discuss with me, please reach out. Email address is very easy, votespradley.com. It's SPRADLEY. And thank you very much for your time. Have a great day. Hello.
All right. So if anybody has any questions, you can type them in the chat, or email them to Kim, and she'll be happy to pass those along to Mr. Spradley. Kim?
Marilyn, you want to introduce the next slate of candidates?
The next race is the Comal ISD School Board, SMD 1. Tim Hennessy is first on the list. There are 3 candidates: Tim Hennessy, Jerry Sosida, and Brittany Soto. Can you unmute yourself? Oh, there you are.
I guess we're going in that particular order as well, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, there we
Yeah,
go.
we'll just follow the order that's written.
Sure, no problem. First, I'd like to thank you ladies and gentlemen for hosting this forum. I do agree with the words that Ms. Farlow spoke to open this meeting, that voting is extremely important. The more the people that vote, the better that we're represented. And it also kind of keeps people honest. You know, politicians are honest if they know that people are going to turn out and vote. So I applaud the efforts, and I've always been a pro-vote type of person as well. So thank you for giving us this opportunity to speak with you. As you're aware, my name's Tim Hennessy. I'm running for re-election in Comal ISD, single member district number 1. I got on the board about 3 years ago. I got on the board. Prior to that, though, I spent many years actually studying and learning about the school board and what the school board does. I truly believe that most people out there don't really understand what the job of a school board trustee is, and may have some misconceptions about that. So I was one of those people prior to running for the board. I actually spent 3 years sitting out in the audience, watching board meetings, some of them a little more fun than others. But I learned quickly that the board has a lot going on behind it. There's a lot of, as I like to say, sausage making happening behind the scenes. Are y'all able to see me? I've just lost my video connection.
Yes.
We can see you fine.
Okay, well, I'll continue. I cannot see anything else right now. You know, so sitting out there in the audience, it was a great learning process for me. I got involved in 3 different committees, district-wide committees, parents from around the district. And on those committees, I was actually nominated twice to present our findings to the school board. So during that process, it was recommended to me like, hey, Mr. Hennessy, you've really got a knack for this school thing. You really do care. You're involved. You're everywhere. What do you think about running for school board? I said, no, thank you. I'm not a politician. I'm not interested in doing that. Well, lo and behold, here I am. I still don't consider myself to be a politician, but I do what is considered political work because people actually vote for me. I will say, however, this is a nonpartisan type of deal. This is strictly about education for the kids. And that's where my focus has been for the past 3 years. I've won awards and accolades from PTAs and PTA councils, things of that nature for the volunteer work that I do in schools. I don't do it for the awards. It's a personal driver. I'm fortunate that my family raised a servant. I am a servant, and I'm fortunate that I have the ability to serve others, and I want to continue to do that. I'd like to talk about what's been going on over these past 3 years since I've been on the school board. As you know, we are an extremely fast growth district, adding well over 1,000 kids per year. I've been up to Austin on at least 3 different occasions and spoke with our legislatures about trying to get funding for districts just like Comal ISD. We're very unique in the fact that we are growing so quickly. It takes time for the tax base to catch up. And so I've made concerted efforts to go to Austin and speak with our legislators to try to get funding that would affect Comal in a positive way. I know that the legislature did release their funding, school funding in their last session. It didn't help Comal ISD. We are running on a very tight budget, and it's no surprise that due to the COVID pandemic, that we don't see more money coming from the state. The state has already told us, don't expect much more from us, if anything at all. That's a little bit scary to try and plan for the future when you know you've got 1,000 kids showing up every year. Some of the things that we've talked about, obviously with these kids is we need to have bonds. We need to have more schools, and we're behind the curve already. We need schools yesterday. And as part of this getting schools process, behind the scenes, I've been pushing for land because we need land to build these schools on. Again, with some direction from myself, we've been able to possibly work out some deals with some real estate developers that would like to see our schools within their real estate development property, which could save us potentially tens of millions of dollars. But while that's happening, I'm still pushing to buy land today. Land will not get any cheaper for our future schools. I spoke about the budget, and that being said, our budget is extremely tight, but there are a couple of things that I think that we still need to address fiscally. And that number one goal for me is our teachers. We've asked so much of our teachers this year. If you've not been into a school this year, which most people haven't because of the pandemic, I can assure you that our teachers have given their all this year. It has been amazing to watch how resilient, how quickly they respond to whatever is thrown at them for the day. Teachers were showing up at the beginning of the school year not knowing exactly what that would look like. And I got to tell you, when I look back at the progress that we've made this year, especially in relation to other school districts that didn't even open their doors, I am amazed. Our teachers deserve so much more from us as a school board. They deserve so much more from us as taxpayers. I hope that parents will remember and realize the time that their kids were stuck at home due to the pandemic. It's hard to teach kids. Let's give our teachers that respect that they deserve. So in the future, I can tell you that I'm going to be looking for a way to try and get money to pay our teachers. I'd also like to remind our homeowners out there that in Comal ISD, we're also unique for the fact that we have a 20% homestead exemption. That means that 20% of the value of your house is not taxed. Comal ISD gives that money up. We don't get it, the state doesn't get it. And currently that 20% homestead exemption, that's over $30 million to our district. I could do a lot with $30 million. And so I want to point out that fact to our homeowners that we have been extremely fiscally responsible. We are an A-rated school district by the state. I want to maintain that A rating. It took hard work to get there. And it's not just the grades, but it's also the fiscal responsibility that has been shown by myself as well as our other board members that have worked in the past to try and spend our tax dollars as wisely as possible. But at the same time, we have to give our teachers the necessary tools that they need to teach these kids. We know that this COVID pandemic has created learning gaps, very serious for some, and these gaps need to be made up. And what that's going to look like, we don't quite know yet. We're still in the data gathering phase. We're doing testing. For instance, our STAR testing that we just had this past week, we use that data and we literally go and mine that data down on each individual student. And we meet the student where the student is at. And then we say to that student, okay, come on, this is where we need to end up. Let's get going. And so we create that pathway of success for a student. These are the things that I will continue to focus on. These are the things that I do on a daily basis. I just hope that the voters of single member District 1 will realize that I have represented the entire district, and I want to continue to do that. I don't believe now is a time for change. There's too much going on in relation to the legislative process about to happen, our fiscal process here at the home office, and what are we going to do to make up those education gaps? This is not the time to learn on the job. This is time to stay strong and steady and to realize that experience does matter when it comes to working and representing Comal ISD, single member district number 1. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Hennessy.
And our next candidate is Jerry Socita. Did I say that right?
Yes, ma'am, you're fine. Trust me, I've heard it worse. So.
And go ahead and tell us about yourself.
Awesome. Thank you, Marilyn. Ladies and everybody that's on this call one, I'm excited. Thank y'all for being engaged and creating platforms and places for individuals to be heard and to be expressed. If there's anything that I've seen over the course of about the last year from families, students, staff, administrators, like that's really at the core of so much that wants to be expressed, is just knowing that they're heard and listened to. So just want to share a little bit about myself for those that may not be familiar with me. Again, my name is Jerry Salcedo. I'm actually third generation New Braunfels. So born and raised here my entire life. I'm 36 years old. I know I get a lot of comments from people saying, wow, you look much younger than that. So, but 36, I am married. My wife, Cassie, and I both actually are in business together. We run an insurance agency, have been entrepreneurs for a number of years now. And then I have a 14-year-old daughter that is currently a freshman at Canyon High School and has actually been in the Comal ISD school district her entire education life, much like her dad. And so I think that's a unique position. And to me, like why I get so excited about considering the opportunity to serve in this way is because I'm actually literally able to serve and give back to a school district that gave to me. You know, I myself am actually a product of Comal ISD. I was a 2003 Canyon High School graduate, and I actually spent my entire school and educational life throughout Comal ISD. And that was actually in single member District 1. So I did go to elementary schools like Goodwin Fraser and also went to the Canyon Intermediate School. Was one of the first, I was actually the first class, I believe, of sixth graders that was there when Canyon Intermediate School was created, when we brought Comal Elementary together over here. And then I spent time at Canyon Middle School and then of course at Canyon High School. But so not just by default being a part of the New Braunfels community, but I've been pretty engaged even throughout that time, whether it was being involved in athletics, playing in sports, but then also in terms of student and student body, being a part of the National Honor Society. And that continued even right after graduation. I was selected to participate in Texas Boys State, which was a really great experience to have happen. And also was someone that was selected to be a part of NHI, the National Hispanic Institute, which was a phenomenal experience that is still paying dividends today and something that I feel like is very important with single member District 1. So as I mentioned, in terms of having a child within the school district, not only that, but I have currently about 6 nieces and nephews that are spread out throughout Comal ISD, from a senior graduating this year from Canyon High School on down to a second grader out Goodwin Fraser Elementary School. And whether just being involved in my daughter's life through roles like PTA, through the watchdog programs, through the booster clubs, or actually being able to have literally conversations with them on the weekly, kind of give you guys some of my perspective, even as we talk now. Like, we do family dinner every Tuesday at my parents' house. And so I literally get to spend time with about 10 nieces and nephews, and just hearing about their week, their day, what's going on in their life, what is school like for them. And trust me, through this last year, it's been very present, both the positive and challenging things that are present in our school district, and also in single member district number 1. So the thing is, like, I don't have to go very far to get a grassroots, feedback from what is going on and what is needed. There's no speculation of here's what my personal agenda is, here's where I feel. I don't have to look very far to go to a niece or nephew that's saying, hey, I'm struggling maybe with virtual learning. I don't have to go very far to go to a nephew that's a junior in high school that's in a welding class that really wants to take on a vocation after high school, but because of things like the pandemic and how that has presented challenges to the school and our vocational programs, what's that's doing for him. And then as a parent, I'm in a unique position with my daughter that I feel there's a lack of representation within single member District 1 that I bring that is very unique and appealing that I don't know many people are in. And I'll describe that a little bit more in detail and transparency, because I think ultimately that's what one of the things the world values today is transparency. When there's transparency, people feel like there's honesty, people feel there's truth, connectability. And so I connect to a good majority of what single member District 1 is. And I say that, one, as a minority, nearly the majority of Comal ISD is nearly a minority that's represented by over 40% of our student body. But if you look at our current school board, where do you see the representation there? And it's not just representation on skin color, but it's the ability to be able to sympathize and say, I understand the dynamics of what it's like in the home, what it's like with the working class or blue collar, the schedule or the belief system, or the ability to be able to reach out to your school board member and feel comfortable and opening and having a conversation and feeling like not only that you're heard, but that there is action behind the intention. And that would certainly be one of those things that I would want to impress upon the voters, is that I have a history of action behind the intentions and not just solely being a voice on a board. And so expanding on the things I was talking about, not only as being a minority, but, I've been a father that's gone through and experienced a divorce, which breaks my heart because I know our generation is very much plagued by broken homes. We have Title I schools within single member District 1 that when you put a title like that, it's like, what does that mean? And maybe by standards of the state or other guidelines, and just saying that represents a certain income level or threshold. Well, where does that come from? That comes from broken homes, from single parent households, from divorced households, from grandparents taking care of their grandchildren. And the thing is, I sympathize and I understand what that's like, but also from a unique perspective in the fact that I've been a father who in the state of Texas was granted primary custody of his daughter at the age of 3 years old. And so I can sympathize and understand what it's like to take on the role of not only a parent, but giving guidance to a child from an early stage of development, and what those students and children need and are expressing and are concerned with when they're going through their educational life at all stages of it. On top of that, the position that we're in now in terms of our blended family dynamics, my daughter is a mixed child. Her mom is Caucasian, her stepfather is African-American. So you talk about having a unique perspective and being able to have an understanding. There is no divides for me. The way that I look at my life and people itself is they are people. And I feel like one of my strengths is that I've been great at being able to build bridges and not burn them. And that is certainly something I feel that the current school board in single member District 1 needs, is an individual that can take action, that can, what I classify and define as, celebrate diversity. Comal ISD and our growing community here is one of the most diverse, not only in the country, but will continue to be that way. Who can sympathize, relate to that, and one wants to be able to listen to that and put into action the concerns that are going on with the constituents. And they want to go to a proven leader and someone that can not only speak to that, but actually act on it. And number of different examples where I've done that. Probably the most prominent being able to do that in a challenging environment. It is certainly easy. I've sat on boards where you are just a placeholder. It is very simple to serve and fill a gap until challenging times come. This last year was a very challenging time for the school district, and we really saw what people were made of. One of those roles that I've served in over the last 5 to 6 years. Go ahead, Marilyn.
Just finish up. You got just a few seconds more.
Thank you, Marilyn. Was a great example of serving with the Hispanic Business Alliance, which is now part of the Greater Chamber of Commerce. And so I was actually appointed by Dr. Carlos Campos and then also Michael Meek, our now retired CEO of the Chamber of Commerce, to say, hey, be a part of the founding group which organized the Hispanic Business Alliance to come alongside and actually complement our economy, our community, and be able to build bridges. And we've done that successfully. I would bring that to the table with our current school district as well. And I'm looking forward to that and celebrating diversity, having progressive education and healthy growth, which single member district number 1 needs in Comal ISD. So I appreciate y'all's time.
Thank you very much. And our last speaker, the last candidate here is Brittany Soto, who is also competing for this position. Comal ISD Board. Hi, Brittany.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for having this, not just for the school board members, but for all of the elections coming up this May. A little bit about myself. My name is Brittany Soto, or Brittany Soto. I graduated from Kenyan High School just last year. And yeah, I was a part of Comal ISD for 14 years. My parents immigrated from here when they were like early teens, like preteens probably. And I grew up here in New Braunfels. I'm a first generation here in New Braunfels, and I just happened to be on the Comal ISD side, where the rest of my family is actually in the New Braunfels ISD side. I was a part at the beginning of the bilingual program. I started at Goodwin Fraser Elementary School, and then whenever they opened up Clear Springs Elementary School, I had actually just switched to all English classes, but that was the closest school to me that had a bilingual program. And I think that it was really odd for me because I would see other students go to Freiheit Elementary School. Like the bus would pick us up, they would drop off some students at a Freiheit Elementary School, and then we would go to Goodwin Fraser. So I think that we have improved a lot. I believe that Freiheit now has a bilingual program, and all schools do. And I think that's great. We are moving forward. There are more programs out there, and I think that's fantastic. I graduated last year, and I was involved in many things like Color Guard, which is the band part, not the ROTC part. I was also involved in theater and choir and a lot of other clubs like the Black Student Union. I did a bit of student council. I wasn't as active as I could have been because I was busy with other things, but anytime I could help out, I would join in. I feel like I was very involved in my school, and I still feel like a lack of representation for me and other students. And I know some teachers have also expressed to me their lack of representation on the school board. They feel like they're not being heard at the moment. And I know that when I talk to them, they believe in me, and I really want to do what's best for them. I know times are hard, and it might not seem like it's the best time for change, but I think change is always good. I think we should always keep trying new things. We should always be learning. That's how we grow. That's how we move forward. We can't be stuck in one place just because times are hard. We need to keep moving forward. We need to keep growing. There, not only is it on the board, not only is there like a lack of representation in color, there's also a lack of representation in women. There's only one woman in the board at the moment right now, which I think is kind of odd, seeing as how many educators, how many students, how many parents are actually women, like single women, single parents, you know. I think we really do need more people out there. Comal ISD, especially recently, has shown its lack of transparency. And I think that that's something that every single board member should be accounted for. It's not just one person's responsibility to spread a message out. Every single board member should be spreading the message. If there's a board meeting at any time, just if it's an emergency meeting, just call it out, send a message, inform everyone. That's what this is all about. Recently, I have been helping out with voter registration because I know that it's been a low turnout for voting, especially these elections, because no one really knows about them, and a lot of people don't care necessarily because they feel like if they don't have kids or if they're not really involved in the school system, then it doesn't apply to them. But of course, we all know that that's not the case. That school board and all of these elections affect everyone, so everyone should go out there to vote. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. I've been helping voter registration, and I've been getting the word out there. You guys have any questions? Sorry.
Kim, you're muted.
Yes, Jolt is a nonpartisan organization, and I helped start it, but I wasn't the one who actually found out about it. One of my friends who now goes to UT Austin found out about it, and they presented it to the school through the whole club thing, which is like a form that you have to fill out. And I was just helping, like, on the nagging. I was like, hey, is it approved it? Hey, is it approved it? I'm pretty sure they got really tired of me after asking a lot. But I feel like Jolt, whenever we started Jolt, it was just my friend and I, and like a few other people who would pop in here and there. But I feel like it has grown a lot. And I think that it's amazing all the work that they're doing now. They sometimes like say, hey, we're having this, hey, we're doing that. And I'm like, wow, like you guys are doing so much more than we ever did. That is amazing. I think that we should have more programs like Jolt and more clubs like that in all schools to show their representation everywhere.
Thank you, Brittany. I think we're going to go on to Comal ISD School Board single member District 2. And then there's been a question put in the chat that I think all the Comal School Board candidates can answer if they are aware of the answer there, instead of trying to do it 2 different times. So and so Marilyn, move on to the single member District 2.
So we have the candidate Courtney Biasotti. I think that's her opponent didn't come.
Right.
Hi, Courtney. Well, welcome.
Hi. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me. Can you all hear me? I think I'm
Yes, you can.
Okay. So my name is Courtney Beach Biasotti, and I am running for a seat for single member District 2. I was moved here in 1987, so I'm a lifelong New Braunfels girl. I graduated from Canyon in 2000. During my time at Canyon, I was involved in athletics and agriculture and lots of community projects. After high school, I went on and went to TCU, and I played volleyball there and met my husband there, and graduated from TCU in 2004. And then we moved back to we got married and moved back to New Braunfels. At TCU, I graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Communications and a minor in Public Relations. And my husband and I have been married for 16 years, and we have 3 little kiddos. Isabella is 11, and she's in 5th grade at Hoffman Lane. Adriana is 9, and she's in 3rd grade. And then Blake is in pre-K, and he will be a kindergartner next year at Hoffman. So I'll have a middle schooler and a kindergartner. So say some prayers for me. But we love it here. My husband would come back with me during college and just fell in love with New Braunfels, which of course I was great with. So we moved here, started a family, and we just love every bit of New Braunfels. Being a graduate from Canyon High School, that's just kind of where I always wanted to raise my kiddos. And so we're lucky that we are we were able to do that. We live out 306 in River Chase. And like I said, my kiddos go to Hoffman Lane. So I was approached basically back in the fall to run for school board. No previous experience with school board or anything political, to be honest. After college, I started a volleyball organization, a club volleyball organization, after working shortly in for Techco Oil and Gas. And so in 2007, I started that organization, and I just have continued doing volleyball stuff. So I have started organizations and implemented programs for youth development for the little ones. So it's usually first graders through seniors in high school. So that's kind of where my path was. I never wanted to be a coach. I never wanted to be a teacher. Never wanted to be on school board. And here I am doing all that stuff. But I think I was telling somebody the other day, I feel like whenever I look back when I was approached back in November to run, I kind of just did the same thing as somebody said earlier, like, no, I think it was Tim. No, thank you. I'm just going to, volunteer at the school, be on PTA. But as I looked back at everything I have done, it's kind of weird. It's kind of led to this. Like I just said, PTA. I sat on the council. I was a council delegate for Comal ISD for representing Hoffman. And that's kind of where this whole thing stemmed from. It was interesting to me. I loved to learn about the district. And I think it's very, very important for parents to be involved and to understand what's going on at the school board level. So I was asked in November, and I thought about it. I prayed about it. I talked to my husband about it. And here we are. So my primary focus, if I am elected, is I have 3, and they're pretty vague, but I think you would probably all agree with me. They're very important. Number 1 is kids. And I truly believe in my heart that everybody that's currently on the board and everyone that's running currently is doing it for the kids. There's no question in my mind that the children are not the top of the line, but I have no desire to run for higher office whatsoever. So when I say that, it is truly, I would be representing the kids. As a mother of 3, I'm in it for the long haul. Like I have, like I said, my little guy's going to be in kinder. I'd like to stay involved with the PTAs and with anything I can with Comal ISD, at least till he's through school. So kids, number 1. Seeing that growth in kids is important. I get that question a lot about standardized testing and, the ratings of our schools and the ratings of specific areas of our schools. And I think it's very important to have a baseline. But I think celebrating every child's success is important. A kid that goes from a B student to an A student is just as important as a student who goes from a C student to a B student. Every child's different. We need to treat them differently. And I think the best way to do that is by having that baseline, but also knowing that every child's different. Every home dynamic is different. Every really rely on the teachers a little bit more of what's going on behind the scenes. So kids, for sure. Community is number 2 for me. I think safe, secure schools. As a mother, I hate watching the news. I hate seeing the horrible, horrible things that are going on in schools. It scares me. And I think Comal ISD does a fabulous job of implementing safety techniques throughout the district. Any school I've been to, there's a process to get into the building. I think that's very important. And I want to make sure that all of that is maintained and our kids are safe when we drop them off and they're there. And my last one is future. Everyone, even city council members brought this up. I'm sure everyone will say the same thing, growth in the community. Forward thinking is kind of my thought process. We need to pass this upcoming bond. The growth is here. We need to build more schools to be able to support these families that are moving in and the families that are currently here. So those are my 3 big buzzwords, I guess, is kids, community, and future. And that's really what my focus would be. but yeah, so I appreciate you guys setting this up. I think it's important to, to know about your candidates. I've had a couple meet and greets. They've been fabulous. It's really great to see the support that I have. And I have one more before early voting starts next Sunday, and I'm sure it'll be just as successful. And then we'll start, with the voting, and we will see come May 1st if what's going to happen in our district. I do think that change is okay. I think that we also have to appreciate things that past people have done, but also look to see when you place your vote, how the person representing you and your family and your district, how is that going to look in, say, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? And make sure that you're placing your vote based off of more than just one hot topic. No doubt the mask is the number one question I get all the time. And what are your kids doing? What do you think? How would you have voted? You know what, moving forward, I think it's important that our kids are in school, number one, whatever that may look like. I just think it's very important for the children to be in the classroom. I'm not opposed to virtual learning, but I think it's important. So I just want to make sure that the schools are open and safe, and our kiddos can learn, in the schools. So that's all I have. I don't know if there's any questions. I'd be happy to answer.
This is why I saved the question that was put into the chat for all the Comal ISD school board candidates. If you have a answer to it, you're welcome to join in to provide your answer. And the question is, will the last stimulus payments help our schools? So I guess that the last COVID relief bill from Washington. So if anybody want to,
I'm going to defer to Tim on this one because I really honestly don't know the answer.
Kind of curious if anybody else knew anything or not. So the answer to that question is we don't know yet. The money will be handed out to the state, and the state is the one that will decide where that money goes. So if it's tied from federal dollars to education for states, the states still decide where the money goes. And so as a representative currently of Comal ISD, you better believe I'm fighting to get some of that money. So I'm already in some of our legislators' ears trying to see if we can get the TEA or the governor to kick some of that money our direction. Good question. We just don't know the answer yet.
Yeah.
I'd like to chime in on some of that as well.
Okay.
This is Jerry.
Okay. Go, Jerry.
No, I think, I agree with all the same sentiments that Tim mentioned. And, I think something that's important with that, at least in the time that I've spent looking into the process of those funds being dispersed, even if they were to go ahead and actually make their way here, is the time frame. Like, when is that going to happen? I think people want to see, like, hey, the need is now, and so even if that process were to take place and it does make it here, you're talking about probably a couple years down the road. And so, I think that's why I'm a big proponent of progressive education. I know even with my background in business that there's other unique measures of whether privatized funding, granting. We're in one of the fastest growing areas with organizations and companies and corporations that have millions and billions of dollars of budget and revenues and profits. Why aren't we tapping into their pockets, coming up with some unique ways to go ahead and help get some funding? We're waiting on legislation and government and all of these other things to directly take care of our community when we've got other ways and options to explore.
Thank you, Jerry. Anybody else?
No questions on YouTube, Kim.
Okay. What about What about?
I have a question for the.
Okay. Go ahead, Kate.
For Tim or any of the other candidates for school board. Tim, you had mentioned that that you've been talking with our representatives, trying to make sure that they don't decrease the Texas funding at the same amount that the federal funding came in for, like they did last time. Exactly. Is there anything, or what can we do to help make sure that doesn't happen again?
Great question. Thank you very much. Truly what it takes is the grassroots kind of things that we're doing right now as we're talking to each other. It really makes a difference if a phone call is placed to our local legislators. Mr. Kemple, John Kemple is mine just down the road here. I've been fortunate that I happen to know his dad and I know him as well. So I can pick up the phone and let him know, hey, this is how this is going to affect our school directly. I would also recommend to get in contact with Kyle Biederman, who is out on the other side of our district. He too is the person that controls the purse strings. But there is a lot of back channel dealing that goes on. It's pretty darn amazing and pretty ugly too, if I'm going to be 100% honest with you. And the uncertainty of it all is what makes it so difficult, because we can't plan for the future, not knowing, do we have money for the future? So I don't know that I've truly answered your question. What can we all do? We have to contact our local Texas legislature. That's the only way, the only way.
Thank you.
If
very
I could
much.
share on that, I'd like to help answer to that question.
Sure.
I think very simply, there's a couple of things. One is creating some accountability and mobilizing people. You create accountability by, getting people to voice and being heard. One of the things that the incumbent for District 1 mentioned recently on another panel, he actually mentioned and said, hey, I'm not your social media kind of guy. Like, there's only so much of one person and so many hours in the day to be able to go have a single conversation or pick up one phone call. But we've seen the power of media and social media to be able to mobilize some of the biggest movements that we've seen in different efforts. Why wouldn't that not be done now? I feel like I've been able to do that strongly for a lot of positive methods and being able to mobilize our community for nonprofits, for organizations. Why would we not do that for the school again? When our median age of the individual living in New Braunfels right now is in their mid-30s, probably with a child in the school district, where do you think they're spending their time? Where do you think children are spending their time getting their information on places like that? And so giving them the opportunity to say, hey, this is where your voice can be heard. We can take your information. We can create accountability for individuals that make those decisions. Trust me, you put their feet to the fire, they're going to act on our behalf.
Thank you very much. Those were good answers to the questions. Then next is the New Braunfels ISD District 3. And I think, Stacy, you were going to read a letter from the incumbent, Eric Bergquist.
Yes, so I will channel Mr. Bergquist. I probably will not get his voice right, so I'm not even going to try. So just imagine that I'm Mr. Bergquist. And I will read this for you if you will bear with me one moment, please. And it was nice of him to send it to us. So Mr. Bergquist says, and he's again the candidate for the New Braunfels ISD Board of Trustee member District 3. I am excited to be running for re-election as trustee for NBISD District 3 as an experienced school board member. As a longtime citizen of New Braunfels, I am proud to be serving my community and the students of our district. I am a proud graduate of New Braunfels High School, class of 1987, and my wife Dawn and I chose to raise our family here. My two children are unicorns. My son graduated in 2016 and my daughter in 2018 from NBHS. Serving as a trustee has allowed me to support the district that has been an important part of my life, as well as my children's. New Braunfels has been my home for nearly 42 years. During my first term as trustee for NBISD, we were dedicated to making substantial improvements to safety and security within our district in response to events in our nation that made schools more vulnerable. We also completed the purchase of all land needed to accommodate future build-out for serving students in our district. The construction of the first building of the new middle school marks the start of that vision. And most recently, we have carefully and expediently navigated the response to COVID-19 and ensured the district is able to continue to serve students while still keeping everyone safe and healthy. As I complete my first term on the NBISD school board, there are numerous items currently active that will benefit from consistency in leadership and will require careful consideration in planning. First and foremost, we are tasked with securing a new superintendent to lead our rapidly growing district in an unprecedented environment of challenges. Additionally, we have a bond election in November that will help support the incredible growth of our community. This includes navigating the addition of a second high school in our district. As a unicorn, I understand the sensitivity of this undertaking and commit to making this inevitable transition a positive evolution of our district's history. I would like to take the opportunity to continue to carry out the mission of NBISD to provide an environment where all students are engaged and empowered to become self-reliant learners in a constantly changing world, along with the simple yet significant vision of every student, every day. Your support will ensure my continued commitment to the students, family, and staff of NBISD.
Okay, and our next speaker is John Porter, who's opponent to Eric Bergquist. Unmute yourself, John.
That's a good idea. For the record, I really like Eric. I was born and raised in San Antonio by two educators. I attended Jefferson High School, Horseman Junior High, Woodlawn Elementary. I'm a public school kid. My dad was in the San Antonio Independent School District administration. My mom was a junior high school librarian in the Northeast Independent School District. My dad founded TREDA, which is a statewide organization that helps retired educators and school staff who sadly are living in poverty. There are way too many of those in Texas because our state government doesn't particularly care about teachers, in case you guys didn't know. I'm a lifetime member of that organization still. I attended the University of Texas San Antonio College. And then I went into what is known as the music business, starting in retail at Sound Warehouse, which was a large chain back then and sold this thing called records. And then that jobs followed at MCA, CBS, Vector Management. And after I left Vector, I founded Mood Indigo, which is an artist management company that I still employs me when there's not a pandemic going on. I still work every day for Mood Indigo and my clients. It's just that there's no pay because there's no live music going on. So, and then I joined Mike Robertson Management and Koch Records and Red Distribution and Blue Hammock, a division of Sony International, that changed names so many times I can't remember what it ended up being. Started a company called Sin that was a part of that. And then I went back to Mood Indigo full time after my run with Sony ended. I moved back to Texas in like 3.5 years ago to help out my mom, who's 90 now, and she lives in San Antonio. I chose New Braunfels to live in because of the rivers. I became active in Comal Democratic politics pretty much as soon as I got here, or tried to anyway. I founded New Braunfels for Beto during his Senate campaign and have kept it active, and also worked hard on his very abbreviated presidential campaign. I've worked for all the area Democratic candidates and was a delegate for Elizabeth Warren in the last state convention. I have a 25-year-old son who's also a public school kid who lives with his mom in New York City and works for Stillwell Partners. One of the reasons I want to be a trustee at the New Braunfels Independent School District is because New Braunfels is not a great transparent within the school districts, or even the city government is not as transparent as I think it needs to be. The school district trustees, it's not a very diverse group. I don't think I would add to that, but I would be supporting diversity and equality on the board. Always trying to support science, students, teachers, staff over politics. This community is diverse. It's going to grow ever more so. And New Braunfels Independent School District needs to welcome those changes and grow and improve the education environment so that our students can thrive there. The top challenges I think that are facing the district in my mind are growth, New Braunfels student population, and how to better serve them all. There should be no need for charter schools in New Braunfels or Comal County. Not a fan. There should be a spirit of cooperation between the New Braunfels Independent School District and the Comal Independent School District, because it would stretch all of our tax dollars further. And there are areas, especially for what used to be called AP classes when my son was in high school, but are the classes that help you gain college credit sooner. Comal Independent School District probably has some of those. New Braunfels Independent School District has some of those, but it's hard to fund what you need for this entire area within one school district. And I think both school districts could work together on that. I'm a big fan of music in schools. I want our students to have the ability to experience the world in different cultures in their classrooms. The fact that not one class in the entire New Braunfels Independent School District did anything for Black History Month kind of disturbed me. Standardized testing is something I'm also against. It teaches students how to test, but not how to become well-rounded critical thinkers. And our students require a voice in the curriculum that they're not allowed when they're teaching people how to test. And then the main thing is also that I believe that the school districts as part of the transparency thing, need to communicate more with the community and be an example for the community about transparency, and use social networking and digital communication in general to be a leader and teach and be an example for all the other groups in the city and in the county as to how to be transparent and interactive with the communities. So that's my spiel.
Thank you very much. I think what we'll do is wait on possible questions after the next New Braunfels ISD district. We're at District 5, and Steve Miner will be the first speaker here.
It's Steve Minus.
Minus, I'm sorry.
Yes,
I can't see very well at this time of day.
No, it's no problem. Can y'all hear me all right?
Yes, we hear you.
Super. Thank y'all for having us, for taking the time away from your families or whatever else you'd like to be doing. A little bit about myself. Born and raised in South and Central Texas. I'm a Judson High School graduate. Lived in the area for my entire life until I met my wife, who is a New Braunfels High School graduate, where we live now, which has been 15 years in District 5. I'm blessed to have a ninth grader at the ninth grade center, a seventh grader at Oak Run, participating in all aspects of all the things that New Braunfels ISD has to offer. And I'm very proud of that. It's no secret through all the people that y'all have heard talk tonight that we have tons of challenges throughout our city, throughout our counties, throughout our school districts. And it's very interesting to hear all those different challenges. And the reason I'm here is because I love this community. I love our town. I love our district. And I think that we can continue to provide the level of excellence to our children, to our parents, essentially because that's what we've already have. I don't have an axe to grind. I don't have an agenda to achieve. I'm here to build upon what the district has already laid out. And not to be too long, but I'll give you the three things that I think are top priorities in my mind for the district as I see them. First of all, I think healthy competition throughout this process is completely amazing. I think the amount of people that we have available that are sacrificing their time to support the children, the staff, the parents, administration is amazing. It really is. And that just goes to show you what kind of community we live in. So I'm proud to even be part of this whole thing, and I thank y'all for even having this. Number one, obviously the kids and their safety and their betterment is number one. That should not even be talked about. That's number one. But beyond that, I think as a board member, if I'm so elected, superintendent and leadership accountability is foremost. That's the whole goal of the board. The whole goal of the board is to be elected, is to hold that person who will soon be elected accountable for the job of running the district day to day. That is a person that can provide immediate feedback. That is a person that can provide leadership, guidance, support, all those things, so that that person can do their job. In my job as a general manager of operations for a engineered framing component company in Central Texas, which envelops San Antonio, New Braunfels, Comal County, Austin, and surrounding counties, I have the amazing blessing to have 250 people in our organization from all different backgrounds. And I see all these different walks of life, and I can understand what is important to each one of those different set of circumstances, whatever they are. So that whole deal is completely important to me to bring that perspective to the board, right? So we have different walks of life in our board. I think diversity, if we're going to talk about that, is important in the board. If all of us were the same, then 90% of them would be irrelevant. So let's go ahead and bring some different thought, bring some different life experiences, professional experiences to the board, so that we can make the best decisions for our children, for our teachers and staff. Secondly, I would say, obviously, it's been spoken about tons before, is keeping pace with the growth. I'm in the housing industry, and it is on fire. No secret about that, right? So how are we managing the properties that we have secured? Are they the right properties? Are they the properties that maybe we should do something different with? Are they the right property as far as where the potential growth is going to go? In District 5, we're the biggest district. It's really big. It's not as heavily populated, but it's really, really large. And that's where the growth is coming. And that me personally is close to my heart, because I live here. I'm going to live here. I'll die in this house that I'm talking to you from. No doubt about it. So I want to see our district be smart about where we position our properties as a district, as it meets the needs of the children, period. Nextly is holding on to the values of New Braunfels ISD. It's been argued, and I can't quote it, but we're probably the oldest school district in the state. We've been around a long time, and we've been a destination for people to come to New Braunfels that seek out our district, to live in our district, and it's important to them. In the housing industry, the first thing after they realize how much the home is going to cost is, what school am I going to? So that's very important. And I want New Braunfels ISD to remain at the top of that list. And the only way we can remain at the top of that list is if we are promoting excellence, we are holding leadership accountable, and that we're being smart about our growth and where we're positioning our schools versus the growth. And it happens really, really fast. So that's a tough task for our leadership currently, and I'm willing to take on that task. I've made it a point to make the time for our district, to make the time for our children, so that we can get the next however many years right. The vision, or the role of the board rather, is to not be a superintendent proxy. We don't need 7 superintendents in that meeting room. We need support. We need to promote the vision of the district as it relates to children's education. And that can be debated however you want to debate it. But the reality of it is, if that's not first and foremost, that's going to be a problem. Aside from trying to be a superintendent via proxy. So I am totally against micromanaging the superintendent and leadership that we hire. We need to go ahead and put them in a position, hire the right people for the right job, and let them do their job. I mean, we hold all these teachers accountable for all these things that happen in the classroom, but are we giving them the tools to act upon that? And I'm kind of willing to say maybe not. I've heard different stories from immediate feedback from my children and from other experiences that I've had. We need to hire the right people and put the person that is deserving of that chair in the right chair. Lastly, I'm just thankful that y'all held this forum tonight. Again, it's taken away from y'all's family time. I think y'all done a fantastic job of doing this. I commend Mr. Grenier and Mrs. Nevin for doing the same sacrifice that everyone else is doing in this entire process. It's not easy. I know they have families and other things they'd like to do at the top of their list, but they're deciding to do it. Again, healthy competition for a volunteer position for the betterment of our kids is amazing. So I commend them. I commend y'all for having this tonight, and I'll welcome any questions that y'all have available. Thank y'all for letting me have the time.
Thank you very much. And our next is Brian Grenier. Please unmute yourself and tell us a little about.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the kind words there, Mr. Minus. I am thrilled to be part of this, as everyone has indicated tonight. This has been great. I love seeing candidates from all over our city participating tonight. It's refreshing to see, so many good ideas. I've jotted down things that nearly everybody has spoken about tonight, and just am thrilled that we have such wonderful candidates. My name is Brian Grenier. I am running for District 5 Board of Trustees. I was talking to Stacy a little bit earlier. I see Jamie back there right now. I started in education 25 years ago at a 5A school out in El Paso as a classroom teacher. So over half my life now has been involved in Texas public education. I was a classroom teacher, worked up as a special programs coordinator, did a lot with our staff development department, am now the chief technology officer out at Randolph Field ISD down here in San Antonio. So education runs deep in my veins. I live and breathe it every day. My wife is a classroom teacher at the 9th grade center. I have 2 children in New Braunfels schools. My son Aiden is an 11th grader up at the high school, and my daughter Gabriella is a 6th grader out at Oak Run. We moved here in 2017, knowing that this is the part of Texas we wanted to die in. We are so thrilled that we, have been welcomed by the New Braunfels community, and really feel that this is our community and our children's community for the rest of our lives. I have always made it an effort to serve my community, my state. I've served on numerous boards. I am the current president for the Texas Computer Educator Association. We're a nonprofit of over 55,000 members worldwide, whose focus is improving education through the use of technology. So I bring a lot to the table here. When I came out to Randolph as the chief technology officer, one of the things that we really, that I kind of really strive for, and have done a pretty good job of, if I'm just going to pat myself on the back with this, is bridging that operations side of a district with an academic side of a district. When I got here, one of the first things I did for our district was secure a $1.2 million STEM grant through the Department of Defense. I'm currently working on, I was working on it all day today, as a matter of fact, securing a second $3 million grant through the Department of Defense, focusing on world languages. So I have the technology background, I have the education background, but I make sure that, you know, academics is our focus in the district I'm in and in the district I hope to represent. Why I decided to serve. I'm kind of going through the list of questions you guys had sent out ahead of time. Like I said, I was raised by my family to serve others. I think someone else had talked about this earlier tonight and really resonated with me. That's why I'm in this. When I saw the call for candidates for Area 5 or District 5, excuse me, I knew that my background, my experience, my passion, this is the perfect opportunity for me to serve New Braunfels. So really, there was that reason, and also just the fact that my children are in New Braunfels schools, and like everyone here tonight has mentioned, we want those schools to be the best schools possible. There was, you know, a question about a vision for unity for New Braunfels and how I would, I guess, leverage this position to bring about more unity. Something that I wrote down that, I'm looking at my notes here, Courtney had said, was this, you know, focus on kids. And everyone's really saying this tonight. There is not one person in our community, I don't believe, whether we're Democrat, Republican, liberal, conservative, who does not want the best schools for our kids. And I think that if we find that common desire for our schools and we focus on that common desire for our schools, that's one thing that's going to bring us all together, is that common goal that we have. I also think that school partnerships with our community members will benefit that sense of community. I'm at a loss of words. I thought just kind of ran off right there from me. Mr. Bowers talked about, you know, the partnership that the school district had with the city right now. Those are the type of partnerships that we need to be leveraging more and more and more of. Someone had talked about, I think it was Mr. Minus talked about, you know, he's, you know, in the housing industry. How is our schools leveraging those types of relationships? We have all kinds of business that is just dying to get involved in our schools. This is something that the district should really look at. The gentleman from Comal ISD, I'm looking at my notes here, Jerry had talked about a little bit about this idea of, you know, CTE. I was out in Colorado Springs a couple of weeks ago. It's been about a month ago now, and we had the opportunity to visit a CTE center that was a collaborative effort between two different school districts. It reminded me a lot of what we have in New Braunfels. We have Comal ISD, we have New Braunfels ISD, but we're all serving, for the most part, you know, New Braunfels kids. Comal's, you know, obviously outside of New Braunfels as well, but it was a collaboration between these two school districts that allowed them to open a multi-million-dollar career and technology centered focus on building trades at a fraction of the cost, at really half the cost that would cost either district to do this alone. With boards in Comal and New Braunfels, if we can just kind of work together to see those opportunities, you know, where we can pool resources and teachers and, you know, backgrounds, it's going to benefit all of our kids, whether they're in NBISD or Comal. There was someone talking about business partnerships, getting back to that. This same center, it's called the Mill Center. They had over $300 million of equipment that was donated 100% by industry. Those are the types of partnerships that need to be built, that benefit our kids, that save the taxpayers money here as well. So that's another thing. So the three things I had kind of jotted down as far as vision to promote unity was this idea of focusing on kids, collaborating with our sister district next door, and then building those community partnerships as well. My three big kind of areas where I see the district heading aren't much different than I think I've heard any other candidate talk about, whether they're from New Braunfels or Comal. We need to work together with our superintendent to develop a vision and an action plan to make us an outstanding district. When I was kind of going through the thought process of whether or not I wanted to run, I spoke to my superintendent here. I said, Dr. Holt, you know, I'm thinking about running for New Braunfels School Board. His comment to me was, a superintendent needs people who are in the business, who understand kind of the ins and outs of the everyday things that are affecting schools. He was very much in favor of that, and from a superintendent point of view, he really believed that my background and my current position would be a benefit to New Braunfels. The second thing was as far as where the district's heading is this, everyone's talking about growth. How do we make sure that we're growing smartly, that we're growing strategically, and that we're putting as limited a burden on the taxpayer as possible. I think this could be done without raising effective tax rates. Through bonds, through partnerships, through these different progressive ideas that have been talked about all night tonight. And the third thing that I think we need to focus on is making sure that our kids are receiving a high quality education and focusing on really all areas of education: fine arts, gifted and talented, special education, career and technology, the whole gamut. We need to, take a close look at that in the district and make sure that we are providing our students with a world-class education here in New Braunfels. I thank you. I think we'll all kind of chime in on questions later after Ms. Niven speaks. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. Yes, we have the third candidate for this position. It is amazing to have three candidates for a volunteer position. Betty Niven, if you could unmute yourself. Thank you.
There we go. Hitting the wrong button. Okay. Again, I want to thank everyone. Kim, thank you for your help and your support in inviting me to come to this forum tonight. And this is amazing. I'm very excited about running for the 5th District of BISD as the Board of Trustees. Give you a little bit about myself. I'm Betty Niven, born and raised in Houston, Texas, and second oldest of 11 children. So I helped my parents raise the other 9 children. I attended and graduated from the University of Houston as a certified secondary teacher. I moved to New Braunfels in 2008, and I was married for 34 years to John, and who passed away a couple of years ago. So I have a lot of time and a lot of experience to offer the school board. I currently work with Texas Lutheran University with the RSVP program. That's Retired Senior Volunteer Program. It is very strong in South Central Texas. Our director is head of Hayes County, Comal County, Guadalupe County, and those are four of the counties that she is over. I've been with them for 8 years. During that time, I've worked very hard with heads of curriculum, with principals, with counselors, and of course the teachers, and in matching over 100 volunteers, senior volunteers, to help in the schools, help the children from kindergarten through third grade who were having difficulty not on their reading level. It's a wonderful program, one-on-one basis with the children. We never get a bad report. And the teachers love having us, and the principals, of course. As I said, I've trained over 100 senior volunteers to help in the schools. Our children are our future, and our community needs to be concerned. We are so blessed to be part of this community, New Braunfels. Volunteerism is a wonderful thing here. The people want to volunteer. They give their right arm all the time to help this community grow and succeed. And it's wonderful. It's wonderful being part of them. Somebody said to me, if you live in New Braunfels and you're bored, you don't have anything to do, then that's not that's not the way to be living. Go out and volunteer. Go get involved. And that's what I want to encourage our citizens to do. I've served on the RSVP of South Central Texas Board of Advisors out of Seguin. I've volunteered for the last 4 years with CASA, which is the Court Appointed Special Advocates. We assist judges in making decisions regarding placing abused children, be it in a foster home or another place of living. So, what do I have to offer if I'm elected to the board? I will dedicate and serve to help build a strong, healthy, and financially viable school district. I bring 10 years of teaching in public and private schools, and my passion for our children, and my passion to serve our community. My strongest commitments would be to improve the quality of education in NBISD, improve the communication between the school board, the PTA, and our community. I assure you, I have an open mind and a willingness to listen and learn. I have the confidence to research and help the board make decisions, along with the skills to incorporate the consensus, the needs and priorities of our community into strong policies. What I see is the main issues. My opponents have already mentioned these. We need to safety. We need to continue to keep our students, our over 3,000 students that we have, plus the staff and teachers, safe while doing our best to meet all educational needs. Second, to help manage and guide and support our new superintendent, whoever that might be. That person's going to need our help, our support, our guidance in making decisions to serve our students and the families of this community and the teachers. I see as a challenge to review, research, and help decide what items should be placed on upcoming bond elections. Some examples have already been mentioned. One, especially, we are in need of a second high school. Fourthly, I want to maintain our resilient teachers that we have. They have enabled us to get through this last year which has been a real challenge for all of us. I also want to work with CISD and make our district more effective. I have experience with Dr. Kim, working with him in CISD, and I know he would welcome our coagulation with each other, okay? That would really help. It would just make things more smooth for our whole community. The most effective way to approach these issues is to improve communication with the new superintendent and throughout the entire district. We need to communicate regularly with school principals, the students, and PTA regarding their constructive needs and concerns for our district. I feel we need to all get involved. We need to encourage the parents to get involved with coming to student events, coming to show the kids our support. Grandparents need to get involved too, as well. The school board, I feel, should also invite the businesses. Some of my opponents have mentioned that. And especially the Chamber of Commerce members and local organizations and agencies to support and show interest in our schools and the students, as they are our next generation. And lastly, we need to encourage our people to vote. This is a local election that oftentimes is not considered very important, but my words to the people are, this is for your family and your neighborhood, this election. And so get out and vote and be supportive of us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions for the candidates and the New Braunfels trustees? I don't see any in the chat.
There aren't any on YouTube either.
Okay. And do you know if we have, if Jordan Matney is here to present the charter things?
Yeah, she is here. So
the charter amendments for New Braunfels.
She is on the Zoom. I'm asking her to unmute.
I'll bring up the presentation in just one moment. I thought I had.
Okay. And while we're waiting on that, I just want to thank all the candidates for the various offices. I'm excited that we have such a large group willing to serve, and I see this as a way of showing that people care in this community. But it's the job of the voters to show that they care too by going out and by voting. And most local elections is a very low turnout. This election, if you combine every different race, there are over 80,000 eligible voters. And you know, I work the elections, and my goal is to always have an 80% turnout. That has never happened. But if we could get the largest turnout ever for a local election, that would be really nice. And showing that we take our democracy seriously. We want good people to serve us. By that, and that means that, you know, whatever I don't even know what the highest turnout rate, but it's usually under 10%. So the candidates that presented themselves tonight, it's a tough choice between y'all. I enjoyed listening to everybody, some great conversations, and dialogue works among us. So that's the start there. So I don't know if
I'm ready now. I've got it.
Okay, but I don't see that Jordan is responding.
Jordan is on the phone. I will
Yeah.
ask to unmute. Maybe that will help.
I thought I asked that.
Okay.
Do you want to try it, Stacy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because it's not responding to me.
If not, maybe we can just go through the presentation real quick
Okay.
without her. Oh, there she is.
There
I think
she is.
I heard her.
Okay.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Sorry, y'all. I have tried everything. Okay. I can't see anything. I'm just dialed in on the phone. So were y'all able to pull up the PowerPoint?
Yeah, I have it up and I'll wing it. So just let me know when I need to go to the next slide, or I will guess.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you all for having me tonight. I've been listening in for quite a while, so I think first and foremost, I need to say that I am a staff member for the City of New Braunfels. I am not running for office, and I am here to educate you on the charter amendments that will be on the ballot. I am here to tell you to vote. I am not here to tell you how to vote. So we will run through everything. If you'll move past the first slide, the title slide to the first slide that has information on it. I know we have a limited amount of time, so I'll move through everything pretty quickly. And I do have a flyer that has all of the information on it. You can also go to our website. We have a dedicated website for the charter election that is mbcharter.com. That has all of the information with the proposed ballot language, as well as a summary of each of the 18 charter amendments. So let's start off with what is a charter. So we at the City of New Braunfels are a home rule city. We have a council manager form of government. And the charter is what is basically our primary governing document. So it sets forth the rules with which we can set policy, regulations, and laws within the city. It was adopted in the 1960s. It was last updated in 2005. So we are very well due with some amendments. Any changes to the charter must be approved by the voters of the city. So that's why you will see all of those amendments on the ballot in May. The proposed changes outlined on the website, and then of course on your ballot language, will bring the charter up to date with current state law. And it also reflects the current practices that we have within the City of New Braunfels. Since it's been so long since we've made any changes to that charter, we have practices in place that are much more modern and hold the city more accountable than the charter requires. So we would like to codify those to make sure that councils moving forward and staff moving forward are held to those same standards. The proposed changes that you will see on the ballot in May have zero fiscal impact to the city. So as I stated, there are 18 proposed amendments on the ballot. Those amendments are outlined on mbcharter.com, and then also, hopefully you're on the slide. I can't see, but hopefully there's a slide that has those grouped into categories.
I'm here.
Okay, great. So I know we have a limited amount of time. I'm not going to cover all 18 of those, but I'm going to cover several of those different categories. So we'll stay on this slide for quite a while. So the first three propositions address city council terms and vacancies. So an example of that is that the current council can serve three-year terms in a lifetime, but they can only serve 2 of those consecutively. So the proposed changes allow for, it's still the maximum of 3 terms in a lifetime, so no more than 9 years in a lifetime. However, it eliminates the layoff period, so all 3 terms can be served consecutively. If this amendment passes in May, it will not apply to current seated council members. So it will only be council members elected from that point forward. Props D and E refer to the duties of the mayor and the mayor pro tem. As an example, Prop E codifies the current practice, which has the mayor pro tem overseeing the annual evaluations of the city manager, the city attorney, and the municipal court judge, which are the 3 appointed positions by the city council. So that's what we currently have in place. That is how we operate as a city. And this amendment would just codify that into the charter and make that official. Propositions F and I refer to the duties of the city manager. As an example, Prop G makes official the practice of providing a 5-year financial forecast. So that's provided to the city council every single year. That just puts that in writing and makes sure that that's official. Prop H increases the city manager's spending authority to $50,000, which is allowed by state law. Currently, it's at $25,000. Anything else needs to go before the city council. That becomes problematic sometimes in economic development negotiations or repairs that need to be made to a city facility. $25,000 at this day and age is really not that much. And when that needs to go before city council, it's a 2-week process to get that in front of them. So this would allow us to go up to what is allowed by state law. Prop J makes official the current practice of a council appointed municipal court judge who must reside within the city limits and a court clerk that is appointed by the city manager. So some of that language in Prop J is very dated, and so it just updates it to what is current practice. There's 6 propositions that address minor corrections to the charter. Those include publication and posting requirements, updates that allow us to remain consistent with federal and state law when it comes to discrimination. One of the ones that has created a lot of conversation within the community is Proposition M. It refers to some gender identifications, and so that's created some discussion. Basically, all that proposition does is it refers to those 3 appointed positions, the city manager, the city attorney, and the municipal court judge. Currently, it refers to those 3 positions in the charter as he, him. It would allow for a change, a very clerical change that would then say he or she, him or her in relation to those 3 appointed positions. Currently, our city attorney and our municipal court judge are both females. And in the charter as it stands, they're referred to he. And clearly, as an assistant city manager who is a female, I would say I would like the city manager to be referred to he or she, because maybe one day I want to be city manager. Proposition Q is sort of it relates to a disaster event. So that allows for the chairs or the vice chairs of various commissions within the city to serve as interim city council members only in the event that current city council members become incapacitated by major injury or death in the event of a disaster, and we can no longer have a quorum. So it's not in the event of the death or incapacitation of one council member. It is multiple council members. It would be a major disaster when we can no longer hold a quorum. That would allow those interim council members to then establish a quorum, call a special election to elect the new council members, and then those interim council members would serve until the new council members are elected and brought into service on the city council. And then finally, Prop R, it's pretty basic. It limits city employees from participating in political campaigning during work hours. I believe that the next slide shows all of our early voting dates and locations. So early voting begins Monday. It runs through April 27th. There's a series of early voting locations on that slide. I do want to point out that I believe it is the first bullet on that one, which is the main Comal County elections location, is open for early voting, but not for election day. And then the next slide should show all of the election locations for election day, which is May 1st, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And then, of course, a reminder that you can visit mbcharter.com for any additional information. That has all of our ballot language, our summaries. It also has redline versions of all of the changes. And then also, if anybody has any questions moving forward, of course, I will answer any questions that you have tonight. But also, you can reach out to me personally. Again, my name is Jordan Matney. I'm the Assistant City Manager. My email is jmatney, that's MATNEY, @mbtexas.org. And again, I apologize for the technical difficulties, but I'll be happy to answer any questions if anybody has any.
Thank you very much. And thank you for being so patient and waiting for a while to speak.
Sure.
All the candidates and Ms. Matney have been very patient waiting. So
yes,
we did not do a good job keeping the candidates to 5 minutes, but that's okay. That's okay. It was a good dialogue and discussion. So provided more information for voters. So anyway, this concludes the forum part and the city charter amendments presentation. And if you want to stay on for the Democrats of Comal County business meeting, you can. If not, we understand. So anyway, thank you for being with us, and have a good evening and good luck in your races.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Yeah.
Thank you all very much. Have a good evening. Appreciate y'all.
Good night.
All right. Let's see. We're going to go to Angie for our membership report.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for hanging in there with us. So last month we had 14 total members, 2 new members, 11 were renewing, and one of our members upgraded to a key membership. Thank you very much, Neil Harris. That brings us to 28 key members and 75 regular members. Last year, we had almost 200 dues paying members, thank God, because it was a terrible year to fundraise, and we really relied heavily on our members to show up and pay their dues. This year, my goal is to have 221 members for 21. So if you haven't had a chance to renew, I'm going to put in the chat the link so you can go there and just click and renew. We had 6 visitors tonight. I'm not sure how many are still with us. We had Kate Frazier, Dawn Loring, Susan Ostrand, Ann Soderberg, Sheila Pattison, and Walter White. Those are all new names I didn't recognize. So if you guys are interested in joining us, please click on the link. And that's my part. I will turn it over to who? Stacy.
Thanks, Angie. Very good to have you all here tonight. I will be really quick. I want to tell you, you all should have been receiving in your email boxes every Wednesday a Democratic bulletin. We're doing a Democratic Action Bulletin every single Wednesday, and it gives you 1 to 3 things that you can do right now to support Democratic action in the state of Texas and in New Braunfels specifically. So watch for that. If you haven't signed up for the newsletter, just go to our website, democratsofcomal.org, and we'll be happy to sign you up for the newsletter. This Democratic Bulletin is something new that we've started. On our last board meeting, we talked about the fact that we really need to give people some idea of how they can participate. It's been very popular and everyone seems to really enjoy it. We try to keep it really simple. It's never more than 3 things, but it's 3 things that you can do right now. A lot of it right now has to do with the local elections and people that you can support and how you can help the candidates, and how you can get involved in the local election. We also have information. This is a legislative year. For the Texas legislature. So we have a lot of legislative action that you can take as well, which is really important. So, so keep an eye out for that. Again, you can sign up at Comal, democratsofcomal.org. We also post the Democratic Action Bulletins on our Facebook page and our Twitter account. So make sure that you follow us on social media so you can see those. A lot of times we have templates and scripts that you can use if you're going to be calling your representative or calling your senator, either at the state or the local level, or excuse me, the state or the national level. Just key tips and tricks for you so you can know what's going on. I also want to show you the latest, maybe I do, maybe I don't. We have an ad coming out next week in the Herald Zeitung. Let me pull that up really quick. I'll try to be really fast. I'm sorry. I know we're all in a hurry. I closed it when I closed everything else. But I want to show you our latest ad that we're going to be running. This may change just a little bit because the date is different from what we had thought it would be. We're actually running this next Thursday, so we may change some of the information. We might change out these early voting dates, and we may put a different address down here at the bottom. I think we should definitely put the charter amendment information down there as well. But this is the basic ad that you'll see in the Herald Zeitung in the spotlight section next Thursday. And it has the names of, and the reason all 4 of these organizations are here is because the Comal County Democratic Party, the Democratic Women of Comal County, and the Democrats of Comal County have all come together to pay for this ad every, I think we get 2 per quarter, or for 20 weeks, we get 2 big spotlight ads. And we're very proud of them. We're really happy to be doing this. It's a nice way to get our name out there. It's a nice way to encourage people to do things, to take action for Democrats. And remember that our theme this year is Democratic Values Create Opportunity for All. And we're trying to really promote democracy in action. So keep an eye out for this ad next Thursday. That's the 22nd of April. You'll be seeing that in the Herald Zeitung. And we always have a little business card ad in that same section every single week. So you can see us there as well and be proud of that, because that's you all. And your dues go partly to supporting things like this. We also will be updating our website in the next couple of days. I'm the one that does that, and I've been swamped, but I will, by the time this ad comes out, update our website with the list of candidates and polling locations and information about how you can get involved and how you can participate in your local elections. We also have a little QR code here. If you want to become a member and support our efforts, you're welcome to do that. So we will also be selling t-shirts in the coming month or so that have this slogan on the back: Democratic Values Create Opportunity for All, and this little democracy in action donkey on the front. So be on the lookout for those. Hopefully at the next meeting, we'll have some samples to show you so you can purchase those either online or at the office. So that's all I have, unless anyone has any questions for communications.
Looks good.
All right.
All right, we're moving on to the minutes. Here they are from the last meeting. And so we made a little change in them after I read through them again this morning, and it was down with who was running in different races. So it there, that highlighted area. So just to let you know about some of the other candidates who did not appear today in person. So if I can have a motion to approve the minutes as written.
I'll move.
Okay. Stacy moves to accept them. Do I have a second?
Second.
Marilyn seconded. All right. If you approve, raise your hand and I'll go through everything. Just going to quickly go through. There we go. Okay, sounds good. I did not see anybody's hand not up. Saw quite a few people not that are shown here, but really are not here, it looks like. So anyway, so minutes are approved. Rebecca's going to go over the financial report and then talk a little bit about the t-shirt bid.
We did quite well with membership last month. From March 1 to March 30, we had $1,320 come into our little treasury. No merchandise sales, of course. Donations of $60, and then CCDP reimbursed their portion of our HZ ad for this quarter. So we had total income of $1,600 basically. Our expenses were our Brontex storage as usual, our Act Blue fees, and more people are using Act Blue, so we are seeing much larger fees than we used to, but that is great because people are getting their dues in that way, and that's wonderful. The postmaster, unfortunately, Mr. DeJoy is still around. So last year we had an annual post office box fee of $92, and this year we had budgeted for $100, but he decided $118 was much better for us. So a little more than we have been used to paying. Total expenses of $222. So we had net income of almost $1,400. As of the end of March, we have $6,953.29 in our checking account. And in our savings account, we had a huge 6-cent interest for the quarter. So we went from 25.27.31 to 25.27.37. We're increasing like crazy. One of the things I do present to the board is a budget to actual for 2021. And I will just want to tell you, our expenses are not very, thanks to COVID-19, we don't have a great deal of expenses this year or last year, but we had budgeted for $2,000 in membership for the full year. And as of the first quarter, we have $1,250. We had budgeted $2,000 for the full year for key members. We have $2,380. And we had additional donations. We had $300. So far we're at $660 there. But all in all, our budget was $4,300 for the year for membership, and we're sitting at $38.90 already. I mean, at 36, I believe it is. So we're doing a great job. And I just encourage everyone, as Angie said, join us, please. Renew your membership if you haven't already. It's one of the things we're really going to be doing this year. And the other is, shall I just go right on into the new business, which is, no, Stacy had mentioned that we have looked as a board at producing some T-shirts. She's indicated that we would have that democracy in action. That would be just right here on the front, and then on the back we would have some wording. Stacy, you might want to say exactly what that wording is in a moment, but it's the total for these shirts is, and we're looking at ordering 150 shirts, both in the very soft material that we like, and in a V-neck for the women's, and then a unisex with a V-neck also for men and people who really need that larger space. Our total cost would be $23 $2,340. So I would like to see if everybody's in agreement that this is something we'll end up making probably about, maybe $600, $700 off the sale of this. So I think it's well worth our time, and we need some new t-shirts. We sold almost everything this last year. So I'd like to get, I'd like to hear if anyone has a problem with our doing that. Do we have anyone?
I don't. I'm not seeing anybody reacting against it. So, and I just thought of this, if there's a chance that, we might have the fair parade coming, this coming September. Who knows? But if that happens, having new shirts would be kind of a neat thing.
They're going to be good looking.
Thumbs up and a lot of nods. So that's
yeah.
Okay, good. Then I'm going to go on and order it then, if that's the approval of the group. Thank you very much. Appreciate.
All right. And thank you everybody for hanging in there. So, but I thought all the candidates did a terrific job in talking. I believe this was a good event to have. It will be posted, and I'm very proud. I don't know of another forum that had all the candidates. I do not know that. So I'm very proud of it. Huh?
All except one, unfortunately. I don't think we didn't hear from one. Yeah. Very good though.
Well, but I mean, they were, and the ones that didn't show up, I was not surprised that they didn't show up. So anyway, but to have that kind of response, I thought was really nice. So anyway, so I'm proud of this group tonight. So, and I know we didn't stick to the 5-minute rule, but we're Democrats. We can't.
We don't know when to stop.
We don't know when to stop. That's right. So anyway, so have a good evening, and I guess I'll be working on that action alert for tomorrow. So.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for all the hard work
Thank
you
you.
put into this. Thank you.
Thank you.
See y'all soon.
Bye-bye.
Good night, everybody.
Bye. Can I do it? Yes, I
Stop
can.
the recording.
Oh, good. I'm glad you stopped the recording. I
And
would have
hold on,
stopped
and I will close the YouTube out. Okay. I want to thank everybody who's joined us on YouTube tonight. Thank you for hanging in. We still have 3 people watching, so thanks for
good.
joining us. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing you at our very next meeting. It'll be great. Have a good
Excellent.
evening, and take good care. Hold on, Kim. I need to find
the stop recording. I don't see that I just see YouTube.